Psalm 90 verse 12, teach us to use wisely all the time we have. Napakahalagang matutunan kung paano ang oras na ipinahiram ng Diyos ay magamit sa tama. What's the time? Ano ang oras? Ano ang hinihiling ng oras? Ano ang kailangang gawin? Dear Father, we thank you for life and we thank you for the joy of life. Cleanse us, empower us to grasp the depth, the width, the height of your word. And may we apply this to our daily life. Preach to us, O Father. We want to hear your voice. Use your servant only as your instrument. Kayo po ang mangaral, akayin nyo kami. Dalangin namin ang lahat ng ito sa ngalan ng iyong anak na si Jesus. Ecclesiastes 3:1-11. Everything on earth has its own time and its own season. There's a time for birth and death, planting and reaping, for killing and healing, destroying and building, for crying and laughing, weeping and dancing, for throwing stones and gathering stones, embracing and parting. There's a time for finding and losing, keeping and giving, for tearing and sowing, listening and speaking. There's also a time for love and hate, for war and peace. God makes everything happen at the right time. Pag nangyayari, tama lang na mangyari. Ang tamang mangyayari ay mangyayari sa tamang panahon. There are varied times. Iba-iba ang oras, iba-iba ang hinihingi ng pagkakataon. Everything, every idea, every act, even that which directly opposes another, has its God-appointed time, has its appropriate, effective time frame. Lahat may tamang panahon. Appropriateness is determined both by essence and timing. It's not enough to say the correct word. You've got to say it in a correct time. A good act is not enough by itself. It must be done in good timing. To the point that what was appropriate to do 1 second ago no longer is. What should have been said 1 minute ago no longer should be said. Lahat may panahon. Ang matalinong tao, ang taong sasaya, ang taong magkakaroon ng makabuluhan na buhay ay marunong sumabay sa tamang panahon. Hindi niya sinasalungat ang panahon. Thoughts and deeds are to be geared to the times, anchored on unchanging truths, but geared to changing times and even technologies. Hindi dapat laging romantically nakalink ka sa past without making that creative and that appropriate bridge between the past and the present. Time elements should be factored even and especially in biblical interpretation and application, which many scholars simplify and call contextualization. Ancient universal truth, particularized to contemporary realities, is what sound and responsible biblical scholarship should strive for. Kailangan ang hermeneutics user-friendly. It is a hard task, a difficult mission to transport universal ideas born and written in the past and apply them to today's realities. And that's where many people fall along the way. Archaic religiosity forcefully applied in contemporary life. While some universal truths never change, the context in which they are applied, understood, and propagated must be user-friendly. And we should be sensitive to the nature and character of the times. The times, the situation, in tribal cultures thousands of years ago are different from our environment today. But truths never change. But the way they are perceived, applied, contextualized, must be responsive to present realities. We should be sensitive to the needs and demands of the times. Hindi lang tayo bulag na sumusunod sa mga paraan ni Lola, sa paraan ni Lolo, sa paraan ni Tatay, kundi hinahanap natin, ginagagap natin kung ano yung mga katotohanan noon na hanggang ngayon totoo pa, pero pinahihiyang natin sa ating kalagayan ngayon. So when you ask, what time is it? It's better to fine-tune the question and say, for what and for whom is this time? Especially sa may mga relasyon. Ang araw na ba ito ay para sa asawa ko o para sa akin? Sino ba ang pagbibigyan sa dalawang nagtutunggaling mga kagustuhan? Sino ang dapat na masunod? Sino ang dapat sumaya ngayon? O, araw to ng aking anak. Birthday niya ngayon, so sige, araw niya. Araw ito ng teacher, araw ito ng estudyante, araw ito ng employer, araw ito ng employee. We should do what is timely. Because true spirituality, high religion, is relevant. Hindi lang siya lumulutang sa hangin, hinuhukay sa ilalim ng lupa, may kapit sa katotohanan natin sa oras na ito. Even in agriculture, and agriculture is one of those areas in life where time is really very important because you abide by the dictates of the season. Proverbs 20 verse 4, sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time, they look but find nothing. Siyempre, pag hindi ka nagtanim sa oras, wala kang aanihin sa oras ng anihan. Pagka nagsasaka ka, meron kayong mga bukid, lalo palay, pagka hindi ka nag-harvest, pag nagsimula na ang harvest time, mga katabi mo, nag-harvest na, lahat ng daga at mga peste at salot sa kanilang bukid lilipat sa iyo kasi sa iyo na lang merong tanim. Kaya dapat kasabay ka. You should plant and invest on time so that you will harvest also on time. We should do what is needed in time. Ang daming contrast, sinabi sa Ecclesiastes. There's a time for birth and death. So, people in the family get born, people in the family die. Times happen. And we should not act as if this is a surprise. May panahon na may sakit, may panahon na malusog. May panahon ng paggaling at may panahon naman na lumalala ang sugat. May panahon ng pagbuo at pagsira. May panahon ng pagtatagpo at paghiwalay, pagtawa, pagiyak. Lahat yan bahagi ng buhay at hindi tayo dapat magulat kung nangyayari. Dahil kung ginagawa natin ang kailangan para maihanda ang ating loob, maihanda ang ating buhay, sa anumang magaganap, pag naganap yon, hindi tayo sobrang nakakalog, naliligalig. When we do things at the right time, we don't get surprised, we don't get flat-footed, and we are not disempowered by eventualities of daily life because preparations are done in time and on time. Kaya mahalaga, handa ka. Gusto mong umani, maghanda ka magtanim. Gusto mong tumibay yung loob, humanda ka na humarap sa mga problema, mga suliranin at patibayan mo ang iyong loob para pagdating ng malaking problema, buo ang iyong loob. Gusto mong gumraduate sa graduation, mag-aral ka sa buong panahon ng pag-aaral. And we should do what is allowed by time. Philippians 4:10, at last you renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you were concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. In other words, the writer was saying to his audience, well, there was a time when I needed you, I knew you wanted to help me, but you couldn't. But now, finally, you are able. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng gusto natin gawin, nagagawa natin eh. Hindi lahat ng gustong tumulong, nakakatulong. Kaya hindi rin dapat laging sumasama ang loob mo pag hindi ka natulungan kasi gusto man niya, pero hindi niya kaya nung oras na yon. Ang kaya lang natin gawin, yung pinapayagan ng panahon. At mapapagod tayo, maubos ang ating lakas kung lagi tayo nakikipagtunggali kung ano ang pinapayagan ng panahon. Enter open doors instead of force open closed ones. May mga bukas naman na pinto, bakit nagpipilit mong gibain yung nakasara? Para ka doon pumasok, may nakabukas naman. May magtatanong sa akin lagi, ano po ba? Kailan po kaya ako papakasal? May magpapakasal na ba sa'yo? Wala pa po. Di hindi pa, nakasara pa eh. Wala naman pala eh. Bakit mo pinoproblema? Ano kayang negosyo ang gagawin ko? Ano ba yung kaya ng puhunan mo? Ano ba yung kaya ng lakas mo at karunungan mo? At ano ba yung nakikita mo ngayon na kailangan at maglalago? Kasi kung hindi masasagot ang mga yon, ibig sabihin nakasara yung pinto. Huwag mong pilitin. We should do what is auspicious in time, in season. Yung bang likas, hindi pilit. Yung may ginagawa ka, hindi yung minamanage mo. Yung mga iba mananalo halimbawa ng award, pero lahat ginawa, kinausap lahat ng judges, inimpluwensya lahat ng may impluwensya. Hindi yun likas, pilit yun. Kung talaga magkaka-award ka, mangyayari yun kahit hindi mo pilitin. Mahirap kasing lagi ka namimilit. Hayaan mo mangyari ang mangyayari nang hindi ka pagod na pagod sa pakikialam, panghihimasok, at pagmamaniobra ng lahat. Pati sa salita, one of the best traits of a very sensitive and kind person is he knows or she knows what to say at the right time. Proverbs 15:23, how good is a timely word. Kaya yung mga happy birthday, pero belated, parang hindi na timely. Pag nasabihan ka ng belated happy birthday, sa loob-loob mo lang, bakit nung birthday ko hindi mo ko binati? Bakit ngayon lang? Kasi nakita tayo ngayon, pero nung tunay na birthday ko, hindi mo naman ako binati. Maganda, di ba? Happy birthday, pero late na. Meron namang, alam mo, babatiin na kita next year. Happy birthday next year, ha? Kasi baka makalimutan ko. Hindi pa rin panahon. Dapat tama ang panahon. Godly people do not go against time, the season, and sometimes up to a point, the trend. Why go against the trend when it's not bad anyway? Hindi naman kung mo relihiyoso ka, lalabanan mo na lahat ng uso at lahat ng trend. Ecclesiastes 3:1, as we have read before, everything on earth has its own time and its own season. So dapat nasa season ka. Alexander Pope says it very well, be not the first by whom the new is tried, nor yet the last to lay the old aside. Kung may uso, huwag naman yung ikaw yung unang-una. Kasi ang tingin pa ng tao sa iyo, baliw. Kasi ikaw una, hindi pa maganda sa tingin nila, hindi pa sila sanay. Sa iyo palang nakita. Sabi niya, huwag kang mauna sa uso, na unang-una. Pero huwag nang hulig-huli ka, nalaos natin, ngayon ka palang sasali. Kailangan, nasa gitna ka lang, middle of the road, para tahimik ang buhay mo. And do not go against age. Be and act young when young. Kung bata, magkilos bata, mag-isip bata, it's okay. Ecclesiastes 11:9-10, and I like to read it, not as a scary proposition, but as a solicitous advice. Be cheerful and enjoy life when you are young. Do what you want and find pleasure in what you see. Many people read this sarcastically that this is not really what the writer means. Nang sinasabi niya, huwag ka talaga mag-enjoy. Pero sabi, be cheerful and enjoy life while you are young. Do what you want and find pleasure in what you see. But don't forget that God will judge you for everything you do. Yun yung clincher. I propose that we don't read it as a sarcastic verse, but an admonition to be wise. Enjoy up to a point, and don't enjoy beyond some points where you might suffer the consequence of your enjoyment. But nevertheless, within all allowable bounds, enjoy your youth. Verse 10, rid yourself of all worry and pain, because the wonderful moments of youth quickly disappear. But the problem with the overwise, the over-religious, the overly righteous, is that they don't want the young to be young. They want to fast forward the young into maturity at once, to skip youth and move forward to maturity. Don't hurry up to be old. You have all the time in the world to be old. While young, be young. Be mature when mature, and act mature when matured. 1 Corinthians 13:11, when I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. So nakikita natin yung element ng time. Pag bata, okay lang mag-isip bata. Pag matanda naman, dapat kilos matanda na. But the problem with people who are not able to really have a childhood or youth is that is belatedly enjoyed much later in life. So you find a lot of people who should be very mature that are acting as if they were really, really young people, medyo may konting asiwa. Mali ang timing. Overly eager parents do not rob children of childhood. Do not fast forward children into maturity. Children should be careful enough to be safe, but carefree enough to be happy. Children must be clean enough to be healthy, but dirty enough to have fun. Don't expect children to behave like adults. Adulthood will come. It will happen in its time. Do not rob the young of youth. And sometimes this is what overly conservative religions do. They rob the young of youth. But you are young only for so long. Sasandali ang pagiging bata. Kaya dapat huwag palampasin. And also do not rob the old of age. Of course, the context, at least in our culture of being old, is receiving a lot of warmth and affection and care. But when you make grandparents take care of their children and you turn them into daycare, you are robbing them of the entitlements of old age, which is to be able to rest, to be able to choose what they want to do, and to give them choices. So panahon, pagka matanda na yung tao, panahon na niyang medyo magpahinga, huwag na natin bigyan ng napakaraming responsibilidad. Bigyan na natin ng maraming luwag para siya mapahinga. Ecclesiastes 3:11, God makes everything happen at the right time. If it's happening, it's the right time for it. If it's not yet happening, wait for the right time. But waiting doesn't have to be passive. You must be constructively and creatively engaged in what you want to happen tomorrow. But you are waiting for tomorrow for it to happen, but you are preparing the groundwork so that it can happen. And when it does happen, that it can happen well. The New International Version says it, He has made everything beautiful in its time. When something is in its time, it's beautiful, even physical death. When you have lived a productive, creative, loving life, and it's time for you to go, then it's time for you to go. Do not argue with your Maker. Meet your Maker face to face. Pagka masyadong masakit ang nararamdaman, ang bigat ng karamdaman, at kinukuha na ng Panginoon, hindi na makaya ng lupang katawan yung sakit, it's a beautiful time to go. Rather than insist on staying with no quality of life at all. Pero kung nabuhay ka naman ng maraming ginagawa, hindi ka na dapat manginayang kung kinukuha ka na ng Panginoon. Ang sayang yung haba-haba ng buhay, tas walang nangyari. Para tuloy ayaw mo pa kasi marami pang hindi nangyayari. Kaya dapat sa panahon na dapat mangyari ang isang bagay, nangyayari na. And for many things to happen to earthly life, people need a certain decent amount of finances. That's why poverty is an enemy of godliness. Because people who are wallowing in poverty are just too preoccupied with existence, with survival. They are not able to refine the better portions of their personhood. They are not able to pursue their dreams and to create and to do things. That's why true godliness will address poverty, and true godliness will work to minimize or to eliminate it at all. Kalaban ng agenda ng Diyos sa buhay ng tao ang sobrang kasalatan at kahirapan. Kasi maraming gustong gawin ng Diyos sa atin na hindi mangyayari kung hindi natin matutustusan. Kaya itinuturo ng Diyos, magtrabaho, 6 days you shall work, on the 7th you will rest. But the problem is some people reverse it, 7 days they rest. So wala silang tanim, wala silang ani, hindi nangyayari ang dapat mangyari sa kanilang buhay. Pagka may sakit ka, wala kang makitang pera, kukuhanin mo yung pera ng iba, hihingin mo, hihiramin mo, hindi man ikaw nagtanim, maling timing. Hindi ka dapat humarvest ng hindi mo tinanim. Kaya kasama sa tunay na pagiging makadiyos, yung pagsisikhay, pagsisikap, pagtatanim, para kami anihin at matustusan mo yung mga pangangailangan at makatulong ka pa sa pangangailangan ng iba na too young, too old, or too sick to be productive. That's why we should produce surplus so we could be of help to people who are too young, too old, or too sick to be productive. Kalaban ng pagiging godly ang katamaran. Lahat ng araw ay araw ng kasipagan, kaya tinuro ng Diyos, 6 days you shall work, and on the 7th you will rest. May panahon din ng pagpapahinga. Huwag ka rin sobrang magpagod. So it's important to know the time. And it doesn't mean numerical time, PM, AM, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, no. Know what time says. There's a time when there are moments when the time tells your body you should rest. You should take a vacation. Know what time says. Know what time wants done. And know what time allows to be done. So you will be in step with time instead of against it. Dapat tayo, ang tibok ng puso natin kasabay ng tibok ng puso ng Diyos. Ang ritmo ng buhay natin kasabay ng ritmo ng mundo. At kasama tayo sa alon, sa agos, hindi natin laging nilalabanan, lalo't hindi naman masama ang pinupuntahan ng agos na yon. Matthew 24:32, Jesus says, learn a lesson from a fig tree. When its branches sprout and start putting out leaves, you know that summer is near. So God has implanted a lot of devices for us to know the time. And these are clues as to what should be done. So that when tomorrow comes, we are ready for it and we will harvest the good fruit. So what time, what season, what year, what period is it? Should really mean what is appropriate to do now. Because what is truly spiritual is relevant and timely. It's not blind, robotic adherence to archaic religiosity. Dapat in the now. Geared, anchored on the unchanging rock of truth, but geared to the times. High spirituality is informed and progressive application of universal truths that are user-friendly. Importante, mabait yung application. Kasi kadalasan, sobra ang ating loyalty to the past, to old ways and systems, na unfriendly na tayo sa sarili nating buhay ngayon. Be in the now. Psalm 118:24, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So we should engage the present. People of God are to enjoy the present. Psalm 90 verse 12, teach us to use wisely all the time we have. It's not all the time we had, it's not all the time we will have, but it's the time we have. Because the time we have now is really the only time we have. Yesterday is already a spent check. Tomorrow is just a promissory note that may not happen. Only today is cold cash. You have only today. All we really have is the present. You cannot boast about tomorrow. You don't know what a day may bring forth. You don't know if you'll still be there tomorrow. All you have really is now. So we should not be fixated on the past. Learn from the past, but move on. Philippians 3:13, one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. That's why we should be in the business of forgiving. Because not forgiving is being tied to the past. Pag may hindi ka pinapatawad dahil sa mga nakaraang kasalanan niya sa iyo, nandun ka pa kahapon nung pinagkasalaan ka niya, wala ka pa ngayon dito today, nakatali ka pa kahapon, lugi ka. At pag hindi po siya pinatawad ngayon, hindi mo pala lagutin yung connection mo sa mapait na kahapon, bukas, nakakonect ka pa rin doon hanggang next week, next month, next year. Forgiving is good for you because you cut off connection with a bitter, sad past. But those who don't forgive are constantly tied down to the past. They are not able to tackle the present, and they will not be in a good situation to tackle the future. Ecclesiastes 7:10, do not say, why were the old days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such questions. Many people over-romanticize the past. They always talk about the good old days, because they are selective in their memory. They only think about the good old days, but there's also a lot of inconveniences in the good old days. So much discomfort. Marami rin mga problema noon. When you always pine about the past and over-romanticize it, you tend to diminish and trivialize the present, and that is counterproductive. Over-romancing the past could make you sad. Kaya yung laging nag-iisip ng nakaraan, lagi malungkot. Sasaya ka ng konti dahil may naalala kang masaya, pero malulungkot ka rin dahil naalala mo, ay wala na yon, tapos na yon, nakakapagpalungkot. Kaya sabi ni Percy Bysshe Shelley, we look before and after and pine for what is not. Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thought. You look before, you look after, and you neglect looking at the now, you will only be sad or scared. Remembering the past too much makes you sad. Thinking of the future too much scares you. Kaya sabi ni Jesus, you have only today. Do it well. Because when you do today well, tomorrow will be fine. Isaiah 43:18, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past, except learn from it. So, truly spiritual people, be in the now. We should be ready. We should be ready for, but not fixated on the future. Because the future is still unknown. And why worry too much about what you do not know and cannot know? Even religious people should be ready for the future, but not be overly fixated on the so-called end times, to the point that they are not able to live in the now time anymore. Ecclesiastes 11:4, Solomon says, whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. Pag lagi kang sigurista, lagi ka natatakot tungkol sa future, hindi ka mamumuhunan, hindi ka mag-i-invest kahit sa relationship, tatanda ka na lang at mamamatay ng walang nangyari. So do not make it a habit to fear the future. And do not make it a habit to scare others with the future. If we did the best, if we learn from experience and refine what's already known, the best is yet to come. As long as we learn and we do things on time. Do not let belief in end times scare and paralyze you and make you stop living normally and stop being productive. Hindi ko mo iniisip mo na darating si Jesus, magkakaroon ng katapusan ng mundo, wala ka nang gagawin, hihintayin mo na lang, tutunganga ka na lang sa ulap. Marami mga religious people, they stop schooling, they stop work, and they say, this is already the end times, God is coming, blah, 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 so stop everything you do, drop everything. But that is not what Jesus was teaching. Matthew 24:40-41, apparently in reference to this moment, sabi ni Jesus, 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding with a hand mill, one will be taken, the other left. Ibig sabihin, sa tinatawag na end times, aabutan ng panahon na yon ang mga tao nagtatrabaho at kinukuha rin at dinadala ng Panginoon yung inabutan nagtatrabaho. Hindi siya pinagalitan, bakit siya nagtatrabaho, end time na. Dapat inabutan kita nagpe-pray lang, kumakanta lang, nagmi-mission lang. No, they're working in the field, grinding at the mill, and it's not taken against them, and they are taken away. There's nothing wrong if even this end time thing that many people are always thinking of, there's nothing wrong if God arrives and finds you working, studying, even relaxing and having a vacation. Because it's your time for vacation. So long as it's not always vacation time, that you have time that you work, you have time that you're productive, inabutan kang vacation, alam nga naman pagalitan ka. Hindi ibig sabihin na kung madarating si Kristo, ititigil mo na ang lahat at puro karelihiyon na lang ang gagawin mo sa buhay. Dahil ang productiveness, creativity, fruitfulness, Those are all high religion. Matthew 6:34, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So wag laging bukas ang iniisip mo, laging end times. Ang asikasuhin mo, may babayaran kang kuryente bukas. Kailangan ka mamalengke. May utang kang dapat bayaran. Yun ang asikasuhin mo. At lagyan mo rin ng oras ang paglilingkod sa Diyos, pananalangin, soul winning, lahat yan. People can do all of this at the same time. God has given us a big heart, a big brain, that all of this could be contained. You don't have to choose only what to do. You can do all of those good things at the same time. To think of the clouds, to think of the future and eternity, and live here and now, and enjoy both worlds when the time comes. Dapat kung ano man ang paniniwala mo, ano man ang religious belief mo, magkatotoo man yun o hindi ka nalugi sa buhay na ito, kasi nabuhay ka, ayon sa turo ni Kristo, productive, fruitful, righteous, and happy. 2 Corinthians 5:10, after all, Christ will judge each of us for the good or the bad that we do while living in these bodies. So dito, performance dito sa mundo ang mahalaga. And good or bad things we do includes timing. Tama ba ang panahon? So discern the time. The time for the group, for the family, for the tribe, for the nation, for the whole of humanity. What is the time making us do? What does the time require? What does the time allow? And move within that corridor so you could achieve the most possible to be achieved. And also discern the time for individuals, for yourself, and for others. Respect the time frame of other people. They too have their dreams. They too have their causes. So do not always get in the way and rob them of their time. Do not waste time. Yours and others. Kaya very, very practical but very important reminder is to be punctual. Don't be late or too early. Pag late ka, pinaparusahan mo lahat yung dumating sa oras. Pero pag sobrang aga mo rin dumating, pinaparusahan mo yung host, hindi pa siya handa. Merong dinner, 7 o'clock, dadating ka ng 5. Uy, inagahan ko na lang, hindi ako matraffic. So 5 o'clock, nakakalat ka na dito sa bahay ko. 7 o'clock pa ako handa. Hindi pa ako nakabihis. Nandiyan ka na, entertain na kita. Dapat oras lang, yung tama. Hindi yung late, hindi yung early. And do not forget, because time is important, be efficient. Para hindi pa ulit-ulit, hindi mabagal, hindi pa sira-sira ang ating mga ginagawa. Ecclesiastes 10:10, if you don't sharpen your axe, it will be harder to use. If you are smart, you will know what to do. Ecclesiastes 3:1, everything on earth has its own time and own season. So always discern what time it is for. Hindi lang what time it is, kundi what time it is for. Para kanino ang oras na ito? Para saan ang araw na ito? Always discern how to flow with time. And needless to say, love on time. Love in time. Because as the old song says, we may never love like this again. May opportunity ka, love na. Ngayon na, now na. Kasi baka hindi dumating yung future. Manghinayang katuloy. Psalm 90 verse 12. Teach us to use wisely all the time we have. Teach us to number our days. So what time is it? What time is it for in your life? And in the lives of people you care about? In the lives of people you are responsible for? Suriin natin ang panahon, sapagkat pag tama ang timing mo, the job is already half done. Pag mali ang timing mo, tumitigil, humaharap, mahina ang pagtrabaho. What is best to do now in your personal life, in your personal time, and what should be done right now? What can you do for others that will help them appreciate their time and to get the most of it? Dear Lord, we ask for practical applications for these words that we have shared. Ano po ba ang kinalaman nito sa aming buhay? Ano ang ginagawa namin na wrong timing? Anong right timing ang namimiss namin dahil hindi kami sensitive? Teach us to number our days. Teach us to make every day count. Not only to have many years in our lives, but to have life in our years. Be with the Lord in silent reflection and hear the Spirit of God guide us and to making sense out of these things and to enjoying the most of the time that is borrowed here on earth. Manatili tayong tahimik sa piling ng Panginoon, pagbulay-bulayan kung anong kahulugan nito sa ating buhay.